everyone, welcome to What Up Witches on BFAM 109.6. I am Amanda, and tonight we are going to be talking about dating, relationships, religion, and church, and how things can get a little murky, I guess is a good way to say it. So people always talk about interracial dating, and dating people of different cultures. One of my funniest stories that I've ever heard was this lady. I used to work at an international school, so of course everyone was from everywhere. And this lady sent her husband to the store for chips because they were having a gathering. And she's from here. So when she said go get chips, she meant potato chips. But she didn't say that. She said go get chips. And she was making the dip, and husband comes home with tortilla chips. Because he was from Mexico. And that is his idea of chips. So
you're saying there's a language barrier?
There was there was a failure to communicate. A serious one. By the way, everyone who has just now tuned into the show, that voice that you hear pop in everyone is every now and then is our producer, BC.
How's it going, everybody?
Yes, there was a failure to communicate. I promise they didn't make that mistake again. But things like that happen when you come from different cultures, and then by extension, if you practice different religions, things can also be interesting. We hear, and they can be fun too. We hear the kids that are raised by Catholics or Jews and Christians will say they get basically two holidays type thing, or kind of a combination holiday. So it can be some fun things in there too, but it can also get interesting, especially when it comes to child rearing. I know in Catholicism, they don't really believe in birth control. So once you get married, kids are supposed to be the final destination of the event, not just the fun of it. So if that's something you need to talk about before you say I do. I know in some situations, one person will convert to the other person's religion. And that happens a lot. And sometimes that can cause family issues. I know we grew up with, my mom had a friend, and her daughter decided to marry someone who was Jehovah's Witness, and she converted. And by extension, because of her family and their lifestyle, she withdrew from her family. And so it caused kind of a strife in the family because she still had a little sister. And now these kids aren't seeing the rest of their family because it was just a whole mess. Tell a grandparent they can't buy their kid a present for their birthday. It's not going over well. Religion or no, it's not going over well. So these are the kind of things that people don't really talk about. Lots of people say, okay, well, if you love each other, it doesn't matter. But for all of us, what we believe as far as religion kind of sets the moral tone of how we think our children should be raised. And that's a big deal. And I think, I don't know, David, you can chime in on this. It's kind of become commonplace, and I'm guilty of this too, where we kind of are doing things backwards.
Facts. Like
we had the kids, and then we said, oh, well, how should we raise them?
and how do you raise them?
Right. So these are all conversations that should have been happening prior to, but shit happens.
Well, even back in your day, when you had kids, did you plan everything before you had your first kid?
No. That's why I said no. I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
No. It was definitely not planned. And I don't know at 23 if I had the common sense to think about whether religion would have played a part. Because Vaughn's dad, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, maybe he hasn't changed his stance on this. I don't really talk to him like that to find out. But for the longest, claimed that he was atheist. Like, nope, you live, you do what you do, you die. That's it. So we had like a major difference in what we believed in and what we didn't.
Facts.
Right.
How often did that dampen your parenting abilities?
In our case, I don't think it did at all. I don't believe religion became a problem until his father remarried or got married. And she is a uber Christian. Yeah. And Vaughn, of course, is not. My fair little child is definitely not. In fact, he's gonna kill me for telling the story. Go ahead. Then I'll tell the story.
How do you feel about like when your kids are growing up and you had an atheist husband and your religion? Did you try to sway the children in any way?
Well, no. So me and Mom's dad weren't married, but no, I didn't. There's Mom calling now.
All you gotta do is say his name or cook some food, and that brother is coming.
Right? Conjuring. I'm not answering that.
Conjuring. Hey, you know what's gonna be funny? You know what's gonna be funny? Is he knows where you are right now. It'd be funny if my phone rings right
if he
now.
calls up to the radio station.
Oh, that would be even funnier. 678-383-4378. Vaughn, if you really want to call your mom, you can call her on the air.
That's a whole new limit to call a mom at work.
No. That's a good one. Can you get mad at your child if you are a radio host and they call the station line during your show to ask where the macaroni cheese is? Oh.
My first husband, however, was Christian, but not diehard Christian. His mother was, and that posed some issues. On top of the fact that she already didn't like me. But
let me ask you this: did you ever? My biggest problem was with the grandparents when it came to religion.
So I had that problem because, okay, so hoodoo. You grew up in a Christian church. I was sent to Christian school. I know the Bible backwards and forwards. It's part of the magical practice. But when I stopped doing some of the things that we were doing just because of tradition. Now I still follow some traditions. Like New Year's Day, nobody had better walk in my house before a man does. You know, I still follow some traditions. Some things, if it ain't broke, it don't fix it. Right. But like I changed the way my kids celebrated Yule and Christmas. And a part of that was it fit me better. Another part was they got to holidays. It was really easy, especially with Vaughn, because I kind of started doing it when he was small. So before Nicolaus, he would celebrate Yule with me. And then he would go with his dad's side of the family to celebrate Christmas. So y'all have heard him on here. He loves that whole thing. You know, we did Ostar. He would go somewhere else and do Easter. So he's always got the best of both worlds. So he didn't care. But
I was more
I won't say it. I don't think it caused problems. There wasn't a big argument over whether he would be baptized or not. Like I said, my children are heathens. They're like true heathens. They've never been dunked in. They need to maybe be dunked in some holy water. They've never been baptized. They've like none of that. And I've never had any pushback. And my family didn't push back on that, but they did push back on some of the holidays. Like, well, are you going to let them celebrate this? And what about this? And what about that? And it took a while to let them understand why I was doing it the way I was doing it. Especially, like, I didn't see the reason for all the gifts and that type of thing. Now, I still have problems with the grandparents and gifts.
That's where I was going to go to. Let me hit you first. Let me hit you first, okay? Because I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
I am not Catholic now.
Right.
Like most. Once you get tribed, you get out. But the grandparents were Jewish. So my kids learned about the dreidel, and we're bringing it home, and the Star of David, and the something else, some candle with a whole bunch of lights on it.
I know what you're talking about.
Right. Menorah. They knew all about that stuff and brought it into our celebration. That wasn't cool for me. I want to let my kids express themselves, but like when they're still in the raising stages, how do you feel about?
I think that's hard. Like we hear the stories of, I'm making myself a note so I don't forget. Where I don't think they mean harm by it.
No.
Not normally. Let me rephrase that. There are some out there that are complete jerks and yeah. But I don't think they mean harm by it. I think it's one of those things where they want the kids to experience or not miss out on something that they hold near and dear to their heart. And it's a way of them trying to bond with them. And I honestly believe that sometimes they think that you're being mean and you're taking something away from the kids or something like that. I don't know. I did not force any religion down my kids' throat. So they are free to choose whatever they want. Like if you guys have seen Vaughn on here, he calls it what, Vaughnism? Like he believes in himself.
He's definitely a character.
I love my child, but yeah. So I don't know. There was a lady, her mom, I think it was, a story I was reading somewhere, it was one of those mom groups where it was like, am I being the asshole type question, where mom had to work. So therefore kids have to stay with grandma. Grandma goes to church. She's not going to miss Wednesday Bible study. She's not going to miss Sunday school, like her church thing. And she's not going to miss choir on Saturday. Mom is pagan. Mom is upset that grandma is taking kids to church. In that case, I thought she was being the asshole because pay for a babysitter then. You can't expect grandma to give up her community and her beliefs to watch her children because you don't want, and not take them with her because you don't want them in church.
Facts.
Like you can't do that.
Facts.
Do you have a right to say, right? Do you have a right to say that they don't go to church? Sure, but then you provide something so that grandma is not missing out on her community. Not fair. So there has to be these things, and I think you should let your children explore all the religions. My analogy has always been, where do you go for dinner on the holidays? Grandma and grandpa's house, right? Okay. So aunt and uncle is there. They have all their kids. Those are all the different religions. You might grow up and decide the aunt and uncle made more sense than this aunt and uncle and that uncle and everybody else, but everybody's still at grandma's house. So eventually they all come tying back together with the universe. It'll be fine. Let them choose their own path. I don't believe in cramming religion down kids' throats and indoctrinating them into a certain religion. I just don't. So my kids have been free to do that. But here's a funny story about Vaughn. He might call in after I tell the story of his two men. So when he was about 3, 4. So again, I never stopped my kids from going to church, even though I only go when necessary. My dad took him to church. DC, I swear they weren't there an hour before they were calling me to come get him. He had turned that church out.
Vaughn? My boy.
He had completely run amok. It was horrible. My dad was standing, when I got there, my dad was standing outside the church under the little cover for me to pick him up. Guess what? They've never invited back to church.
The face your dad had on.
Oh my God, he was fit to be tired.
Disappointment, right? Or mad? Was he angry or disappointed?
He wasn't angry. I think he was just like, what the fuck, man?
Oh my God.
Because
Oh my God.
they were doing things that didn't make sense to Vaughn, so Vaughn called it out. Excuse me. So it was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I got him to take him to the car. He's still like screaming things at parishioners going inside. I was just like, oh my God. Just get in the car.
Facts.
Never again.
The way we handled our Jewish grandparents, we told them they could do the Jewish stuff, but keep it at their house.
Okay. But don't
Because
send it home.
the straw that broke the camel's back is when my son come back with one of them beanies on. The Jewish beanie thing to have.
Oh, yeah.
Yarmulke.
Yeah.
Yarmulke. I was like, okay, that's it. And he's like, no, Dad, I love it. I said, you put a baseball hat on, now you're at the fucking Catholic house. That's it. They can go back and forth.
Right.
But the Jewish stuff stayed at Grandpa's house, and my son even asked, what's this religion about? Cool. Go ask Grandpa.
So here's a question for you then. What do your children practice now?
Nothing.
So no harm done in the long run.
And the funny part about it is, my girl goes to church, and I don't do no churches. And Kyle's girls go to church, and he don't do that.
But that's okay.
It's okay. It's a choice.
Like you can accept that.
Yes.
As being a thing. Like you don't have. I think if you have a common respect and you can come to a common like agreement on how you're going to raise your children, like how much influence religion is going to have on this child rearing, is going to be the important parts of it.
Thanks.
And I think a lot of people don't have that boundary set in place. And I mean, honestly, who's really thinking about those? If you're doing this young, who's really thinking about that?
Don't you think options are better when they're raising kids? Could you imagine being a real single mom? Talking single, like no aunties, no grandparents, no nothing.
Oh no.
One value, one way.
No.
You think about all of the people that Vaughn has had to help him raise him. Easier, right?
I would not have survived without a community. I'll be honest. I'd have put him on the church step somewhere, fire station step, something. Vaughn was a handful when he was small. That's a whole nother.
Variety just helps raise your kids.
I think so. And they learn how to deal with different people. So yeah.
They learn how to cope with controversy right away. Because like when they're 5 and 6 years old, and they're going over there learning Jewish, and they come over to our house, and we're raising them Catholic. There's got to be something inside their head going, Jesus, look what I'm doing. My parents learning two different things. They learn compromise.
And I think it's
early.
I think it's important. Like the first time. So up until, for me, 4th grade, I went to Christian school before that. Okay. So when you're in a Christian school, everything's kind of homogeneous.
Facts.
Everyone's kind of dressed the same, act the same. The last school I went to, people had a little bit more money, so it was more of a we can do what we want to do type thing. But I think the first school I went to, might have been 5 black kids, maybe. The next one I went to, there were 4 of us. There were 4, and 2 were siblings.
And you know what that number you just said, the 4? I'll wait. I'll remind me when we get to the part about last night, because I know a lot more about that.
Oh yes, okay. So, like, you get used to kind of being in this thing. So then, where everything's the same, you go to chapel on Wednesday, blah 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 blah. Everybody's in the Christmas play, so on and so forth. So when I went to public school, I grew up by Lenox Mall. So I went to Woodward Elementary, which was right next to Cross Keys High. Okay. Buford Highway is an international place. So the look on my face the first time I sat in a classroom, this girl had a hijab on. And I was like, she wearing a scarf on her head. Like, because in our the older people wore scarves, but they didn't look like that. Like, I was, what the hell was going on? And they split us up. It was for sex ed. That's what it was. They take the boys one day and the girls the other day. So since there were only girls, she was able to take it off. And we were like, what? She was like, oh yeah, I can take it off around y'all. I guess can't let see any man outside of my immediate family see my hair. It's like, well, alrighty then. Like, we didn't understand. And I didn't want my kids growing up that way, you know. So it was important to me that they learned other things. I didn't want them to be sitting in class and be shot like that. I remember that same year was my first experience with Ramadan. And the kids weren't eating. And the adults were freaking out. Like the teachers, they called the counselor down to talk to them about whether they were being abused. Like it was this whole big hoopla. This is the 1980s, y'all.
Right.
It's the 1980s. Desert Storm is going on. There's a whole lot of moving pieces to this. But it's what got me interested in learning more and more about other people's religions, and why I studied social studies and history and religion in college, because I was curious. So that's why it was my mind. I was like, I need to learn more about these things. But how much input the church has on your raising a family then comes into question. There are sects of churches and different religions where they have a, to me, uncomfortable amount of input on child rearing and all of that. I'm trying to think of a nice way to put it, but it's invasive. Like really, really invasive.
How do you nicely say when a church tells you how to raise your people? And now you're tying it into last night. I know you are.
You
Because
knew
I'm
where I
sitting
was
there
going
thinking,
with
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I did a lot of research last night on this
Let me
70.
just go ahead and clue you guys in on where this whole conversation is going. By the way, thank you to Big Chiefs Botanica. Check them out, all their herbs and everything that she has going on there. I've got to get her back on the show. So I will be working to get her in here to have a conversation with you guys about where everything is sourced from and what all she carries and a little bit more there. I know right now she is doing a detox for the month of March. So if anybody wants in on that, please give her a call. All right, so I'm going to read you guys this letter because I know we have listeners who cannot see me and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to read this here. People who aren't on Facebook, where I posted it before. And this young lady named Brooke posted this on social media. So this is where they posted it. They didn't steal it or anything like that. She lives in Islington, South Carolina, and we'll tell you more about Islington, South Carolina here in a minute. But this is what the church wrote to her. The Islington Church of God and of Prophecy on February 10th, 2022. Dear Brooke, this letter is to inform you that it was unanimously decided in our February 9th business conference that your membership in our local church should be terminated. Since you refused to accept the letter we sent you in November, so we're assuming she got one in November, and she writes them a check on December 31st, tax, everybody tries to get out that last little donations. But since you refused to accept the letter we sent you in November that outlined the reasons for this action, I will briefly review them here. Number 1, you initiated the separation in your marriage, Josh, without good cause, stating that you wanted to begin a relationship with another man. It seems you have no desire to keep your family together, and this has caused a great deal of hurt to you, your husband, your children, and many others. This is being unfaithful to the marriage vow that you took before God. Number 2, you have continued to post many unchristian and even indecent pictures and messages on various social media sites over the past many months. You have also been very negative and critical of many of our church family. I believe to try and take the attention away from your real needs, which you deny. 3, you have refused counsel or advice from your husband, your pastor, and many of your close church family who really care for you and have tried to help you. Brooke, contrary to what you try to convince us, you are really not in a good place right now. Brooke, Taking this action was not an easy thing for the church to do. There have been many prayers said for you and your family over this past year plus. There was a great deal of sadness in our meeting over having to do this. You and your family have been a very important part of our church for many years. And I know that we still love each of you very much. We are hoping that God will show you his will in all of this, and that you will also desire to do his will. Please let us know if that happens. Sincerely, Pastor Bernie Levesque. Note, we felt it best to return the tithe check that you recently gave to Jeanette. That check was for $500. Now, first I'm going to tell you the audacity. Like, who are you to tell her she's not happy? Oh, bless their hearts. Okay.
I got more information. I found some more shit.
And how is the church like to get kicked? I would never imagine getting kicked out of my place of worship because of a personal decision within my marriage. Like, why are you dipping into my marriage in this manner? But last night on Amethyst After Hours, we were also talking about this because it was like the nerve. How do you do this? Why are you in there? Why is the church this far in their bedroom? And to me, good cause is when you decide you want to be with somebody else, you probably should get a divorce. Unless you're poly, then you'll work that out another way. But David has pulled up. Well, so last night he pulled up and we found out that the city of Islandton, South Carolina, census in 2010 said that it was only 70 people there.
There's only 70 people in the town. Okay.
So assuming that people come from other nearby municipalities.
So this church has 4,500 members.
It does. Okay.
It's an online church. And I have to read this new thing.
Okay, wait. So it's not a physical church?
No. And on January 12th of 2020, which is when we got our stats from yesterday, when they went from 56 people to 70, they had a huge growth in those.
Right.
Or 14 people moving into town.
Right.
In the 2.7 square.
Right.
All right. So, anyways, Bishop Bernie and Chick Levesque, that's the wife. That's Chick.
Okay.
CHIC is her name. Were installed as lead pastors after months of praying and waiting on the Lord. We are confident today, as a culmination of his orchestration, they brought Bernie to him. Bishop Bernie was brought to them.
So Bishop Bernie comes in on January 12th.
Right. And then I got more.
And within a month, he decides Brooke doesn't need to be there.
You got all these people saying, congratulations, lovely couple. And then you go to the end, you got Talia Claypool says, shame on y'all for kicking Brooke out of the church. This is ungodly. And then the funny part is all these other congratulations are all 2 years old. This one is 1 day old. So they have had no activity on their page for 2 years.
Oh my God.
Until they kicked poor Brooke out.
Okay.
Ready for the other part?
I'm ready.
Brooke is not from South Carolina. Guess where Brooke's from?
Where's she from?
She is from Yugoslavia. She was a mail order bride.
Lord.
Oh, Bishop Bernie, she won't stay with me, and I bought her from some. Oh, Bishop Bernie calls her in.
Okay, you said she was from where?
She's from Yugoslavia. She was a mail order bride.
So
that Joshua got, and she didn't like it. She didn't like this community.
I bet they don't even practice the same religion. Let's start with that.
I mean, when you get bought as a mail order bride, do you have a choice what religion you get?
Bless her heart.
No, don't bless her heart.
I feel sorry for her.
Why? She put herself up for sale.
Did she put herself up for sale or was she sold?
Oh, good call. I don't know that. I thought the wrong way. I apologize, bro.
I've got questions.
Yeah.
See, it gets opens more and more questions. Like the story gets more and more. I
gotta do some more research.
Like,
oh my God, though.
The dad sent her over, or did she choose?
Who was running the church for these 4,500 people before the bishop came? Just random people stood up. All right, Dale, it's your turn this week.
I don't know, but I'm still curious on how after a month being there, you've decided that Brooke's the one that needs to be kicked out.
Well, you can't kick out the local guy. It's got to be the foreigner. You can't kick out the one of the 70 people that live here. Oh, I can't anymore. 70 people. So you got this guy.
I've got so many questions.
You got this guy in this small parishioner in a small place, and he orders a girl from Yugoslavia to come to his 70-horse town, 70-person town. Girl, you'll live a good life.
That's a whole
wait till you see our
culture shock, religious shock. Goodness gracious.
Why would an online church turn down $500?
Why would an online church?
Why would an online church that covers 3 states?
Why would they care?
4,500 people in Tennessee, South Carolina, and Georgia.
No one's coming in.
Nobody's coming.
No one's seeing this thing. Because I assume like the whole town must know what's going on.
Whole town.
But, well, if it's a town of 70, trust me, everybody knows what's going on.
Facts.
But.
And 6 are his family. Don't forget 6 are his family.
Right. It's an online church. So.
Online cult with Bernie and Chick.
Probably because. If you're not actually going into a building and no one's in your business, how would anyone know? Like, how would they know? I've heard, and this caught me off guard because I've heard of Catholic churches doing this. Like, Catholic churches will quickly write you a letter and be like, yeah, no, don't come back.
South Carolina Church of God and Property now looking for Presbyterians.
Lord.
They're looking for people. Oh, there it is. That tells you where. Look, they've got that.
Y'all, can they see this? They can't see this, can they? Oh, my God. I wish you guys could see
the show can see it.
Right? Okay, the show is seeing this. Okay.
These are the 12 zones that they're in, and this one over here is called 12 State Hispanic. You see that one over there? Those are the Hispanic people that are in there.
I have so
here they are, Region 1.
I have so many questions about Brooke. Like,
I gotta. They have so they have a pastor and a co-pastor in each place. And each one of them has a website.
All right.
Hey, Jimmy, it's your turn to preach this Sunday.
So,
all right. Thanks.
So here's a question. You know how, like, in certain religions, they get involved in these types of processes like adoption and that type of thing. So like Catholics tend to adopt from Catholic families and Jewish tend to adopt from Jewish families. Is there something we should know about the mail order bride situation that we don't? I'm curious.
Are you hinting that maybe the church might have bought this for one of their parishioners? That would be some drama.
I'm not hinting
Let's take a ride. Let's take a ride.
I've got questions.
Road trip. South Carolina's 3 hours away, girl.
Yeah.
Girl, you don't want to go meet 70 people at the same time?
This does not.
Oh, look at.
Seems like kind of town.
Hey,
probably take pitchforks after me.
Can you look up there right now? That's a child molester right there. All day. All day. Is it a guy or a girl? Oh, it's Dwayne.
I don't know, the lights glared, so I can't see that straight.
Dwayne Willis.
But I don't know. This whole thing, but to me, like, this is the church being too involved. Especially now that you said it was online. Like, if they were there in person and people were seeing them, this would make so much more sense. But
they have a worship center in Somerville.
I don't know. I've got questions.
The rest is online.
I've got questions because So, how much do you allow? A lot of churches won't marry you unless you're members of the church. A lot of places won't they won't bury you unless you're members of the church. Is the church interfering too much? And in my opinion, the answer is yes.
Empowered by the Holy Spirit, South Carolina Ministries will be a visible expression of the heart of God, reflecting his priority of prayer, his passion for the harvest, his plan for stewardship, his pattern for developing leaders, and his expressions of love. That is their motto.
Well, none of that says will interfere with your day of marriage. And by church standards, can somebody please tell me what constitutes a good reason for divorce then? A good grounds for divorce? If he's beating me, can I leave? If he's like throwing things at me, can I leave? If he's cheating on me, can I leave? Like what are the reasons I can leave? More so than I don't love you anymore.
I gotta read one of their. They got these 5 logos.
Okay.
You know, prayer, harvest, stewardship, developing leaders, and love. Those are their 5 like points.
Okay.
I have to read stewardship to you.
Okay.
We are a church that understands and practices the importance of stewardship. God has said it. God has set a pattern in his word for us to follow. Everything we have comes from him, and he has entrusted us to be good stewards. 1/10 of our increase is his. Tithing and giving is an act of worship, and we cannot worship without giving. God's word says, prove me. Stewardship is not about money, it is about the heart, and we are a church with a heart unto God. Brooke, here's your $500 back.
Brooke, just run. Just run. Wow. I just want to know, I'm serious. I want to know at what point, when can you leave? Like the fact that you wouldn't take you didn't take the counsel of your husband. You have refused counsel and advice from your husband, your pastor, and many of your close church family. What gives any of them the right to do that? Like, I can understand if you agreed to go to church for counseling, but maybe this is a therapist issue, not a religious issue. Maybe it's a legal issue. Like, I've got questions.
Camp Agape is our children and youth summer camp ministry. We have 4 camps ranging in ages 5 to 18, and even a Hispanic retreat. Is that like a feature?
Did they have to say that?
Yeah, and even a Hispanic retreat, like it's some roller coaster.
You know what? Good for Brooke.
Yeah,
get out.
You got out of that. I don't understand why.
What would you have done if the church had said, no, David, you cannot get a divorce?
Bye. Oh, you can. This is what it is. I found out where the money is. It's under the word prayer. You can make a prayer request for them to do online while they're praying online, or call in live to ask your prayer. It's a radio station. You can write your name, your email, your phone number, your prayer request, your public visibility, everything you want to do, and then submit it for $150.
Oh.
And they will read you about your prayer.
That's how much prayers cost?
It's you have to time.
So, okay.
Oh no, ministries providing leadership development.
But isn't your
marriage enrichment?
Okay, but aren't your tithes supposed to be 10%, or that things lost in translation? It's supposed to be 10%.
I mean, she gave $500. That means she makes.
Okay, but you said for $150 they can do that. Yeah. So what if they don't make $150?
I don't know.
We know people who don't make $150 in a day.
I'm saying. I think
what if you work at Wendy's and you can't afford it? Like,
I'm gonna take their marriage enrichment class just to see what happens online. Just to see. Online registration. Let's see. I'm gonna go see.
I have no parts of this.
I want to find out. I want to find out what they would tell me if I wrote into them and told them I was fitting to leave my woman. Where do you attend church? Pastor's name. They want everything. Class info, commitment acknowledgement. By signing below students. Continue.
Lord. Okay, well, while he goes down that rabbit hole, check out
You're not getting your money back.
Check out Opal Sanctum and Emporium for all of your must-haves for decorating fun, shiny things. Just everything to make your life a little bit more magical here. David's falling down a rabbit hole over there of church tithing and counseling and so on and so forth.
Wynn said, this is funny. Wynn said, and she wrote this, and Wynn says, she wrote that. Brooke needs to give me that $500 check, and I'll help her get right with Lord and Lady.
Right? Like, I'm serious. I'm serious. $150 prayer request. I'm like,
she could have got 3 prayers for that 500.
Like, am I in the wrong business? I do spiritual advising for $100 an hour. Like, they're just like,
girl, you cheap.
Right?
You're cheap. You in the hood.
They're literally just.
This ain't even a
Here's
church.
my
They ain't got a building.
Right. Here's $150. Here's my name and information. Pray for me.
That's the funniest thing. Like, you see all the things here. I have not seen a church yet. Like a building.
Like, are you kidding me?
No church.
Oh my God. I got
so far, all I've seen is a camp.
I've got so.
Whoa, wait a minute. 4 dead after father fatally shot. Oh.
And I'm sorry. Who sends their kids to a camp? Like, it's different if you attend a church and you're sending your kids to camp. But the church is strictly online and I'm sending my kids? I don't think so.
I have not seen a physical church building. I mean, the Facebook page is terrible. That's it.
I don't know. I'm not gonna send my kids off to camp with church leaders that I've never met.
It looks like they're at a Golden Corral.
Oh Lord. Okay. So I'm just trying to think. So we got married by justice of the peace instead of a minister. So that was one thing. And of course we dissolved it, in that way, or got divorced in that way. I'm just trying to think of what I would have done if someone had came to me and said, I have to leave my religious community because I've fallen out of love with my husband. I would not be devastated, but I would be slightly unnerved. I'd be seriously pissed. I don't know. To me, that's an overstep. And clearly there are children involved because it's like you and your family.
Oh my God, that guy's gone.
So,
we welcome Pastor John and Shasta Phillip to the South Carolina Ministries team.
Already?
Yeah. Yesterday at 1:35 p.m.
So they're changing pastors the way they change underwear?
To accept the KIOE pastorate and be immense blessing to that with their 9 girls.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
You might have been right about the whole cult thing. I don't
Look at that family.
That's
one family. So there's 9 people right there. So that is 1/7 of the town. No, it's facts. I'm just saying 9 goes into 70.
If they live there.
No, they do. That's the new pastor at that town right there.
Oh.
Yeah. He was just yesterday at 1:35 p.m. They welcomed the new pastor.
Okay.
So I bet that guy got a little bit of trouble for kicking that girl out. Let's see what the comments say.
Or he just didn't want the rest of the crap. I don't know.
Mega blessings.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so torn on this. And I know for a lot of people, that is a big thing. Like, isn't it Islamic, if I remember correctly, there has to be like really, really good grounds for divorce. It's not as simple as I'm not in love anymore. I don't know. To be honest,
This is weird, man.
if the church was, if religion played that much of a part of me
Saturday
getting married,
service is 3 hours.
I don't think I'd ever get married.
Saturday service is 3 hours. Weekday services start at 7, end at 9.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, I don't think I would have got married if someone else had that much say over what was happening and interfering. You expect a call from the person's parents maybe saying what's happening, or you expect a call maybe from a close friend of y'all's that's like, hey, what's going on? I heard y'all are having some problems. You don't expect the church to insert themselves like that. At least I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. David is way down this rabbit hole now. You guys should see his face. He is totally into it at this point.
Just these are the questions. I love reading questionnaires. So if you want to send your child from 9th to 12th grade, okay? These are the questions you have to answer.
Is this a camp or?
It's camp.
Okay.
Summer camp.
Okay.
Camper's first, last name, male, female, date of birth, age on arrival at camp, camper's email,
Okay.
mailing address, camper ethnicity for grant and funding purposes only. Camper's ethnicity, what race they are, what school lunch they want, annual income range for your family, emergency contact information, camper's release, church information, what church is the camper affiliated with, pastor's name, baptism, swimming pool, allergies.
Okay, my kids have gone to a lot of camps and not one of them asked me what my income was.
Oh, you have to sign something here. What medicine the nurse is allowed to give your child.
Okay, that's a normal camp question.
How about that? Immunization.
Okay.
Insurance.
Yeah, that's a normal one.
Okay.
Just in case they do something
They
stupid,
get
I have
hurt.
to call 911.
Insurance card. COVID waiver. Head lice.
Okay. I guess that would be a normal question for a sleepaway camp. Yeah. I didn't do sleepaway camps.
Cell phones are not encouraged. You have to click, I understand. I want to see the price.
No, I want to know why they're asking income.
Clothing. The dress code.
Yes, I'm sure there's.
Okay, that's normal. Right?
Yeah. They don't want Tina to show up in her bikini.
Where's the money?
So.
Oh, here it is right here. Pay in full online today, 4 weeks for $125. So that's what I was trying to figure out. So
that's not bad.
That $500 could have paid for 4 kids to go to camp.
That's
4 kids that can't afford it.
Why is my income important?
For $125, it shouldn't matter.
And here's another thing. And not only that, I have heard of church membership applications also asking, what is your income?
Snack cards are not included.
Who?
Snack cards. They have snacks there. You can give your kid a card, like a Visa card.
Oh, okay.
So they can buy snacks.
Yeah. I've heard of churches doing memberships that ask your income. And I'm like, why does the church need to know my income?
Katrina said the income is probably to determine scholarship qualifications.
But shouldn't I ask for the scholarship first?
There's nothing in there that says scholarship.
Like normally, if that's the case, if you're going for scholarship, then they say, are you asking for a scholarship? And then if so, please include such and such information, or please fill out this separate application. But like I said, I've heard of churches asking their members what their income is so they can tell them how much they're supposed to tithe. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, no.
Oh, wow. So let me guess this. This something's messed up here.
Okay.
So a 9th to 12th grader is $125 for the summer.
Okay.
A preschooler is $30. You see it right there. Pay in full online today before May 1st cost is $25. You could have your preschooler go to camp for the summer for $25.
It's not per week. That's for the.
Didn't read anything about per week. I saw. Yeah, pay in full online today, May 1st. Cost is $25.
Okay.
And you can buy snack cards. Yeah.
I've got all kinds of questions.
Why would a preschooler be $25 and a high schooler be $125?
More activities, maybe?
More babysitting. Babies are way more expensive to take care of.
I wouldn't send my high schooler to camp, but hey, I guess. I don't know. At this point, I have far more questions than I have answers about this entire thing at this point. I do. I don't know. I had nothing.
3rd to 5th graders, $95. So as your child gets older, it's more expensive. And if your child's younger, it's cheap. Well, you just put the baby in the bassinet and that's summer camp for them?
I don't know. Opposite of
I have
it.
so many.
Definitely the opposite of childcare.
Absolutely. That's where I'm at. I'm like, what is my kid doing at your camp?
I don't know. I don't know. I know there probably needs to be some kind of true separation between like the whole church and state thing. Like I know when I graduated from Georgia Perimeter, our graduation was at a cathedral because they had the seating and the space. I've heard of schools using the gyms of churches. I have heard of
I'm all right with that. You're all right with that?
Daycare type thing.
You're okay with that, right?
To me, yes, as long as they're not folding in the religion portion.
Right. They're learning in a place of learning. I'm all right with that.
But then there are some people who don't want their child of this religion walking on the religious grounds of another religion. So I don't know. How do you play that?
Katrina said she went to camps and the price was the same at every age, 3rd grade through 12th.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you ever go to camp?
No.
Yeah.
Camp was outside on 12 acres.
Summertime was work time for me. My grandfather owned a horse barn, so.
No, we could go outside and run amok and pick fruit and all kinds of things. Yeah, no, we didn't do camp. I did camp with Vaughn. He did art and all that kind of stuff. Nicole, we did not do art. Did not do camp because, yeah. Oh, Lord. I know I had to go pick him up. But I don't know. And then my question is, okay, so how deep into their business does the church get? Like, are you telling them their kids have to be circumcised? Are you telling them they have to be baptized by a certain age, or I'm kicking you out? Like, what gets you kicked out? Like,
I want to know.
What is the stop? Where's the boundary of none of your business?
I want to sit in on the 9th and 12th grader camp. I want to know, like, if they're teaching them the values to stay in this church.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are.
And I want to know what the values are. I'd like to see, I'd like them to. They don't list it. If they listed it, I'd have read it. I promise you.
That wasn't what those little things were.
They're all COVID tests. Oh, they were all legal stuff.
No. I mean, like the little where they had the little pictures and they read the things, sustainability and all that. It wasn't in there.
A little bit, but just general. I want to know what they're teaching. I want to see a syllabus.
You know, good damn well they don't for that.
I'm sure that I got a better idea. There was a thing on there to train to be a camp counselor.
Don't do it.
Maybe I'll sign up for that for $45 and I'll find out what the syllabus is. And I can go live there for maybe 71 population.
You have too much free time on your hands.
Katrina said it was an Episcopal. I hate that word.
Episcopalian.
Church camp, 1 week sessions.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's probably what it is. It's probably $30 a week and $125 a week, and there's 5 to 6 sessions.
That would make more sense.
That makes more sense.
But there was no calendar. It didn't say that.
It didn't say that, but I bet you when you click on it, the total goes up.
Possible.
Like you can pick the weeks you want to be there. That makes more sense.
I don't know. I've got so many questions. I just want to know at what point. I don't know.
I don't even know I could send my kid off for the whole summer. Could you send your kid off for the whole summer, 4 or 5 weeks?
Yes. At their age now, yes.
Like,
Huh?
I like.
Yeah, but you don't have to live with Vaughn.
Not for 4 weeks. Like that. Like that.
That boy is hyper.
I'll take him for a week.
He is hyper.
He's high. He's a little high maintenance. I'll agree.
Yes, he's hyper. But yeah, I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. It really makes me uncomfortable.
You just think if they're treating
Personally,
the
I would've
adults this
been
way, what do you
out.
think about the kids?
Huh?
If they're treating the adults this way, what do you think they're treating the kids? Because you know most churches want to mold the minds of the young ones, not the old ones.
To keep them, yeah.
Yeah, because you're trying to build your church up. You don't worry about the old fuckers. You're trying to get the new ones.
I don't know.
I can't imagine what those kids and the youths and the teens are going through, like when they're dating. Could you imagine going to like a Wednesday teen night? You know, like church has where they coach their teenagers on how to become young adults.
Right.
Could you imagine the preaching inside of there? If this guy's saying you got to leave because you can't keep your husband.
Oh, he's saying you leave because you don't want your husband.
Right. You're not going to keep your
flat
husband.
out saying I don't want him, and they're saying no. I don't know. To me, if they went to the church to ask for guidance, and a agreement could not be found or had, then I just don't. I'm just trying to see how A plus B leapt all the way to Z.
Because A didn't take B to the conversation. Joshua went to the preacher, Reverend, Bishop, my bad, I'm sorry, Bishop. Bishop was 70. Bishop, and he said, my wife gonna leave me, Bishop. She's not following our ways. Talk to her. I bought her from Yugoslavia.
So there was an article I read, and it was a husband and wife, and they practiced basically because the Bible apparently in some kind of way said that you can punish or discipline your wife.
Okay.
And they practiced this, and she was saying that their marriage had gotten better since he was able to discipline her. And they're using the Bible to justify this.
Don't do drugs.
And I'm just, it just seems like there should be some clear, like, yeah, you should have some morals and some standards
That's a cult.
that shape your relationship. But the second my husband tells me I'm going to spank you because the Bible told me to, not because we having fun, I'm out. Like this, nope.
Isn't that closer to a cult than a religion? I know we're getting close to time, but I mean, when you have rules and not guidelines, isn't that a cult? Which the Catholic Church is very much on the limit of a cult. It's right on the line, stepping over quite a bit. They don't have guidelines; they have rules.
I don't know.
It's almost like a cult.
I don't know where the line is. I'd like to say the line is with the brainwashing, but to a certain extent, all religions do a little bit of brainwashing. Because it's follow this
Or else.
and don't question it. That's what ultimately drove me from like church was the don't question. I had a whole hell of a lot of questions. Was the don't question. So I think it's when the don't question comes up. Nope, just follow blindly, don't question. I think that's where we start to the line gets really, really gray and blurry.
Katrina said that's no difference from a sub and a dom. It's very close. You've got the church that's the dom, and they're trying to make a whole bunch of subs.
Except for the fact that in a correct power exchange relationship, both parties are in agreement about what is going on. And when one of them says, hell no, let's go back to the table and negotiate, we go back to the table and negotiate. There's no negotiating within these other situations. There's, oh, you don't like it? Too bad. Do what I say. And that's not the way a true power exchange relationship is supposed to work. So no, not quite the same. I don't know. I have far more questions than I have answers about this one. I am slightly disturbed. You are not gonna get me in Cult City. Nope, I'm out.
We're protected.
This is the kind of town where people come after you with pitchforks. No. Didn't you see that movie where they where they go to like sign people up to vote, come back out, their tires are slashed?
Yes.
No.
We'll take your car.
No. So they can slash my tires and we still stuck?
My tires are expensive, girl.
Either way, they die at the end.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not dying.
No, I'm good. All right, everybody.
I wonder how they feel about you showing up with me. I wonder if they do like the mixed relationships.
You're really trying to get us burned at the stake.
I want to go somewhere.
He's trying to get us burned at the stake, y'all.
No.
In 2022, we're gonna get burned at the stake, chasing some cult church, online church in the middle,
chasing ghosts
in the middle of South Carolina.
Chasing ghosts.
I'd rather chase ghosts everywhere than to go there.
Even in Mississippi and
Well, maybe not Mississippi. Right. Of course, I don't want to go to Mississippi, period. So that's that. All right, everybody. Thank you to Brandy's Hair Braiding Lounge, or sorry, she rebranded. It's Brandy Candy Natural Hair for this new style. Still hanging in there, so it's lasting longer than I thought it would. Because it's a crochet type style. So those, you never know what the life is on those are going to be. So I'm still loving it here. So you were listening to What Up Witches on BFAM 109.6. Check me out next Monday, of course, on Amethyst After Hours, and we'll be back here at 11 p.m. on Mondays, and then I'll be back here Tuesday at 8 p.m. See you next week. Yeah, I don't know. That town scares me just a little. From what I hear, there's a town here in Georgia that they still have like live snakes, that whole thing. But see, I'm more willing to go to that than I am to drive to where that craziness is going on at.
Live snakes for what?
You know how they do that whole
like for church books?
Right.
Oh, I mean.